Yo, what's good? It's your man 100 Grand Ross with The Rock Never Stops. Today I want to do a video just to almost respond to a video that was done by DeMar DeRozan on JJ Redick's Old Man and the Three. Uh, he has this clip where he talks about his mental health and a tweet that he sent out about him having a few good days, but also having a few really bad days, and trying to work through it. And I want to dive into that for several reasons. One, because it resonates with me because I'm actually in the mental health field. I'm a mental health therapist, counselor. I do life coaching. I do all that stuff. But I've also been a lifelong player of the sport of basketball. And so many of the things that he talks about resonates on a really, really profoundly deep level with me. It makes me really remember what it was like playing and the mentality that you're in that really shapes how you experience your life day to day. And so I want to dive into that in this video. If you like it, smash the like button for me, hit subscribe and the bell for notifications. Let me just start off by saying, one of the things that probably stood out like in a huge way to me was when he was talking about how invested he is as a player. I think when I watch a lot of YouTubers, like some people have good information, but they have good insight, right? And they can like break things down for you. But then there's other people who have a certain perspective because they've played. And then there's other people who have played competitively at a high level. And I think that to some extent, it gets a little frustrating when people who have played at a high level are like, you don't understand because you haven't been to this level. To some extent, that ain't fair, right? Because you see what you see. And there's many perspectives on the game of basketball and what you're watching every day. And at the same time, there's something to be said about when you are playing the game and you push yourself, you push your body, you demand of yourself such a high level of performance day in and day out that it allows you to have the opportunities to get to the stages that you got to. Now, I didn't play in the NBA. I played a little, JUCO college ball. I've been blessed. I've been able to travel around the world with basketball, playing basketball, coaching basketball. I made a lot of money through coaching, training, camps, all these different things I used to do in the sport of basketball. But if I'm real with you, I've just always loved the game. I fell in love with it at a young age, and something at a young age clicked in me, where that was all I wanted to do was play basketball. And for me and a select group of friends of mine, I talked about in another video about just like generations of like ball players and how these different generations shift in terms of the culture of basketball, but also share about how growing up, there was a point in my life, probably from around maybe like seventh grade till I was like 22 or 23, where we used to play basketball every single day. And when I say every single day, I mean every single day. Some of y'all, this will actually resonate with, where we used to wear basketball shorts under our pants every day. It didn't matter if you was going to church, you wore basketball shorts under your pants. If you was in school, whether you was wearing a uniform or it was free dress and you had jeans on, you wore shorts under your pants. You had a pair of shoes in the trunk of your car, or you carried shoes in your bag, or you played in whatever shoes you found yourself having on. It didn't matter if they were Timbs, it didn't matter if they were Lugs, K-Swiss, right? Hopefully it wasn't your K-Swiss, because man, the K-Swiss can get messed up back in the day. Some of y'all won't even know what K-Swiss shoes are, but man, they used to get messed up easy playing ball. But if you was a ball player, you played. And you didn't just play, you competed. And if you were good, if you were like myself or some of the other cats I grew up around, you didn't just compete to lose a game of basketball at any point in time was like something that you couldn't let go of. It sat with you. It festered inside of you. You didn't have a good day. You didn't have a good night if you didn't leave the park having a bigger win record than you did loss record. Matter of fact, even if you lost once, it would eat at you, but it depends upon how many other games you won and how you lost that one game, right? If you was tired at the end of the day and you like, whatever, you didn't care. But if it was early in the day or in the middle of the day, if it was on a Saturday when everybody was out there and the competition was thick and you was like, yo, let's get it, right? It ate at your soul because for so many of us, it was a part of our identity. Who we were as ball players was a part of our identity and how we saw ourselves as men, how we saw ourselves as human beings, right? If you had a great game, you had a great day, you felt like you was on top of the world. Don't hit a game winner, walk off, and now you headed home. Oh, snap. You might as well pulled the flyest female in the club, you know what I mean, and took her back to the crib. That's how high you was feeling because that's how much it meant to us, right? Now imagine you keep climbing that ladder and you keep competing. High school, you the man. College, you the man. Then you get to the pros. Your life is nonstop in this wheel of competition, this wheel of pushing yourself. And for so many people, I think you forget that ball players are also human beings. And I think that this is something that kind of like always irks me about certain commentators, especially when they comment on players' personal lives or decisions. You have no idea what's going on in somebody's life, right? And then it's like a lot of these commentators, I say, you know, especially people like Stephen A. Smith, sound like assholes at the end of the day after you find out what was really going on, right? The injuries that got questioned, all of a sudden you find out that, oh yeah, he could barely stand up, right? He was in pain taking steps to the bathroom. Right? Oh, okay. All that questioning you was doing about his heart all of a sudden goes out the window and you seem like a jerk. Right? Or you find out that maybe they had some personal things going on. Somebody died in their life. Right? They lost a mother, a grandmother, right? A sister. Right? Oh, but they didn't perform to the level that you thought that they were supposed to. Right? As if players don't deal with having to sit with that much pressure to perform, and when it mounts and it mounts and it mounts. This is why when LeBron James had a bad NBA Finals against the Dallas Mavericks, I don't fault him. You know why? Because can you imagine what it was like carrying that much pressure since the 7th grade? Since the 7th grade, you've done everything right so that you don't get caught up and blow your ticket to get out the hood. Not just the hood, the dirt hood, not even the famous hoods, right? Not even like, oh yeah, you know what I'm saying, I'm out here in these streets. You don't even really claim streets like that because your streets really ain't streets like that. You know what I mean? Like he's growing up in an environment where it's the trenches and he does everything right. Even resurrects a dead franchise in Cleveland for some whack owner who thought he owned them, brought him hundreds of millions of dollars every single year and only probably received maybe 8% of that, 4% of that. And all of a sudden in the NBA Finals, in this big moment, the world's been watching him since the 7th grade. He don't perform how you thought he should. Yo, if you can't understand the human factor of the game, then you know what? I can't with you. I can't. And if you get clowned on, if you get talked about, if people shake their head at you, it's because you don't get it. Because maybe you didn't play. Maybe you never put your all into something and gave it everything you had 100%. Maybe you have no idea what it's like to be in love with a talent or a skill or a craft, and you dump your soul into it, right? It becomes a part of you, and you have no idea what it means to deal with pressure on that level. Maybe you just haven't grown up enough to have actually cared about something enough to where if you failed at it, it meant something. And you can't empathize and connect with them, you know. And this is a big part of the reason why I like guys like Ben Simmons. Yo, if he wants out of Philly, I don't know what else he's dealing with in Philly. You don't know what else he's dealing with. You have no idea. If a player don't want to be where you want them to be, who cares? Who cares? Get over it. You're a fan. You're enjoying the game, aren't you? Your team, your franchise probably sucks anyways. That's why you mad that he's leaving, right? It ain't his fault that your team, your franchise ain't got no hope because he wants to leave, that's your franchise's fault for sucking, for not being a place where people want to stay, right? But some of y'all don't get that. Some of y'all miss the human factor, and it's a shame. You know, like some of these athletes, for real, are living life just like us. Now, of course, they have more money, but money doesn't exempt you from problems and issues. It doesn't keep you from getting betrayed. It doesn't keep you from feeling down and feeling lost, feeling regret, feeling alone and isolated, right? And don't be in a terrible situation. This is why I applaud good franchises. And I say good franchises, I mean franchises who actually understand the human element of it, right? Franchises like the Golden State Warriors who have gotten their act together, right? Like the Toronto Raptors who figure out, hey, you know what? If guys are going to be here, this needs to be an enjoyable space. You know why? Because when you're getting drafted someplace, you don't have choice. So if somebody's going to be there for 4 to 7 years without choice, right? It better be an enjoyable one. Otherwise, you can't hold it against them if they want to leave the moment they have an opportunity to. Donovan Mitchell wanting to leave Utah. Yo, hey, he probably never wanted to be there in the first place. He's a human being. And some of y'all miss that. Some of y'all mad at Kyrie Irving for having stances that you don't agree with. Remember, people didn't agree with Kareem Abdul-Jabbar when he was taking political stances, right? Tommy Smith when he put his fist up in the Olympics, right? Some of y'all don't agree with them because you forget that they're human beings just like you. Some of y'all maybe need to stand for something more so that you understand what it actually means to stand for something, right? So I just want to do this video because it just really resonated that DeMar DeRozan would be so open and transparent. Him having to go through the waves of being drafted by Toronto, giving that city your all, not being able to get past probably the greatest player to ever play the game in LeBron James. Like that's a flaw of his, right? And who cares if he's not Kobe Bryant and everything you want him to be? He is who he is, and he's a max salary player who's balled out, was all NBA, multiple time All-Star, and has had an amazing career. Amazing career. He has maximized his talent. And if you can't respect that, then I can't with you. I can't. So for me, it's nothing but respect for DeMar DeRozan. And even JJ Redick opening up like, yo, man, I'm leaving the game that I love and I can't do it anymore. If you follow this podcast, he talks about his back injuries, his back issues, his ongoing back issues, right? I played so long. I tell people all the time, yo, I'm 38, but my body, especially my legs, is probably like 72. Like, you know how much running you do, playing every single day, competing, training every single day? Like, I don't think I've ever shared this on the podcast, but, you know, my basketball career basically hit probably its biggest lump when I was about 31. And I was still competing. I was in pickup games with guys who, you know, play at a high level, professional, stuff like that. And I had the Gordon Hayward injury. For those of y'all who saw what happened to him, you know, in Boston, except my foot went the other way and it actually tore out the side of the ankle joint. I basically exploded my ankle and it ripped out. The bone ripped out. And I didn't have, you know, NBA insurance, trainers, rehab, all that stuff. So I had doctors who botched they shit, you know. And I've never been able to play the same way. And what it meant for me as somebody who loved the game so much to have it ripped out from under me, it was hard. It's taken me years to be able to recover, working my way back, training, because I also used to be a personal trainer. I've lived multiple lives, right? And it's like I did all this training and rehab, came back, was able to play, you know, close to the level that I was at before I left, and it felt really good. And then very quickly I realized how hard it was to recover just to get out there and play. How much pain I had to endure after I was done playing just to be able to play. And eventually it was just like, I can't do this no more. Now that's been probably one of the hardest experiences I've ever had in my life, right? Having to rethink how I move and engage with my body as a human being, how I see myself as a man in terms of always being able to be so physically talented and able, and I could do plyometrics and I could do all these workouts that other people can't do, CrossFit, I can do, you know, powerlifting, I can do everything. And all of a sudden, I got a bad wheel. I can't do 80% of the stuff I used to be able to do. And now I got to rethink who I am as a person, as a man, how I see myself. And some of y'all don't get that human element to a lot of athletes. There's athletes who get hurt in college, right? Think about somebody like Harry Giles, right? One of the top prospects in his class with Jason Tatum and all them, right? And he blows out a knee in high school. He was never the same again. Barely gets drafted. No career, right? He's probably playing overseas right now, trying to get what last little bit he can out of his body, right? What that must feel like. You're supposed to be the next Chris Bosh, and now you're an afterthought. How quickly people forget about you. Markelle Fultz. This is why if you listen to my videos, I'm always pulling for players. I'm always pulling for them, right? Bol, Josh Jackson. I'm pulling for these guys. You know why? Because to an extent, there's a camaraderie with people who have given their all to something. And understanding that it's not simple, it's not easy to make your way. You know, I felt I could have gone 10 times further in the sport of basketball had I actually had people around me to show me how to do it. Right? There's a lot of athletes who might be good, but you ain't got nobody there to tell you about AAU. AAU didn't start until my graduating high school year. That's when AAU became like, oh, people are doing this. Right? The year after I graduate, that's when LeBron came to Oakland and joined the Oakland Soldiers. And it was like, oh, yeah, this is an AAU team. Some of y'all growing up and take AAU for granted, right? In my generation, the younger generation, you had to be discovered. Somebody had to take you under their wing and be like, yo, let's figure this out. But if you come from a big ass city like I do, and there's hella cats out there, you may not get an opportunity. It didn't mean that you didn't pour your heart and soul into it. And so I just wanted to commend DeMar DeRozan. I want to commend people like Kevin Love talking about his anxiety. I want to commend people who are vulnerable, who are just like, yo, hey, this is real. This is real. Y'all don't know what it's like to have 20,000 people staring at you when you make a mistake. J.R. Smith, right? Not seeing the clock and making the right decision, and now he's a meme, right? People think it's just funny, but they don't understand people actually put their hearts into the game, right? And they've gotten to high levels that you got to respect, regardless if they make the decisions that you think that they should have made in that moment, because it ain't about you. It's about understanding that you ain't even in that moment. And you have no idea what you would have done in that moment. It would have been nice to think you would have made the right decision. But if you haven't been there as a human being, as a man, as a woman, as a human being, you know, no matter how you define yourself, if you haven't been in a moment where you haven't made the right decision and it cost you, then maybe you need to keep on growing up. With that, I'm out for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Hope you take a moment to listen to DeMar DeRozan. I really like how he speaks on the game because he's experienced so much. But check out their podcast on Old Man and the Three. Hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll let y'all later. Peace.